Men of Reddit, what's the most creepiest thing a woman has ever done to you? In rage, in the middle of the argument she took my fish out of the aquarium and threatened to step on it. I saved the little guy. It was a beater if you want to know. John Wick wants to know her location. I had an ex steal one of my guitars and shave my cat while I was at work. How the hell do you shave a cat without getting mold? Cut off all of her pubes, put them in between layers of scotch tape, crammed them in an envelope with a pair of her used panties and put the envelope under my windshield wiper. There was a note. Read something like, "I know we can't be together, but now you'll always remember me." She was right. I like the thought of a crazy bitch going around town, just pube bombing her dates left and right. You mean carpet bombing? I had an ex-girlfriend stalk me for 5 years. I had a restraining order against her that included my grandparents. She had been bothering them and my parents, but I didn't think to include my sister because she lived in a different city. This woman stalked my sister and ended up approaching her at a music festival. She was wearing, this is so insane, one of those hats that has fake dreadlocks attached to it, and she was trying to pretend to be a stranger and get information from my sister. Now, keep in mind, 1. She was white as duck. 2. That was the only thing she did to disguise herself. And 3. My sister ducking knew her already. It would be hilarious if not for the years of harassment and inconvenience she caused me. Every time I would move, she would send me something in the mail to let me know she had my address. One time it was a box with a flannel shirt, a half-empty bottle of cologne, a broken toy axe, a bundle of pubic hair, and an 11-page letter written in crayon. Duck, she was crazy. What happened to her? I'm not sure. She finally stopped stalking me once I got married. She had extensive plastic surgery and found the man she wants to be with the rest of her life. Dated this girl who I later found out to be literally a compulsive liar and also into witchcraft. After not being able to deal with her insanity anymore, I broke things off. She would wait outside my door for God knows how long until I came home and say she left something at my house. This happened a lot. One day I was going to add a new email account to my phone and realized that her email account was still saved on my phone. I shouldn't have checked it, but she was actively stalking me and I needed to know what I was up against. There were tons of emails to some witchcraft lady she found online somehow, all about me. She was paying this internet witch like hundreds of dollars an hour for what I would consider witch consulting. It was all about me, how to cast spells to get me back, how to enchant me, how to curse my new girlfriend, all kinds of crazy shit. She was using this lady as like a weird therapist almost, asking her a bunch of relationship questions and shit too. This went on for months. The witch lady was getting a little annoyed with her, I could feel, although she couldn't complain that much because she was draining her for literally thousands of dollars. She told the witch that at some point I told her she needs to seek professional help. The witch actually told her that might not be a bad idea. She ended up moving into the house of a mutual friend, this girl from school, that was literally one building away from mine. My friend told me that she was always burning weird spices and candles. It was at the direction of the witch actually. It was all creepy AF. And eventually she cut my brakes. Love how nonchalantly and sudden that was thrown in there at the end. In a strange twist of irony, it really put the brakes on the story. I fell asleep sitting next to one of my friends on the way home from a school field trip in 12th grade. I woke up to her using my hand to play with herself. As I began to regain consciousness, she threw my hand at me and made a huge scene about it. I never talked to her about it. It bothers me to this day. Definitely top 3. Met a girl at a bar and we ended up back at her place. We had sex and fell asleep. She seemed normal all night, and I saw no red flags at all. I definitely would have dated her again, until she went crazy. I woke up around 5 AM and started getting dressed to leave. I had to get home and get ready for work. She woke up while I was dressing and totally freaked out. She was screaming angrily, "You can't leave." I explained I needed to go to work, and that I'd call her later. She was having none of that. Then she attacked. I literally had to physically fight my way out of her apartment, with a few scratches on my arm for souvenirs. I have no idea what her deal was, and I never went back to the bar I met her in. I met this girl when I was out one night. She was nice, seemed normal, Went to her house and there was pictures of me around her mirror. I would probably asked her for a pen and signed my picture. What a fan. Funny, wish I would have thought about that. Once dated a girl, ended up sharing an apartment. After living together for a month I woke up to her staring at me absolutely livid. Naturally I asked her what the deal was. She said I had a dream that you were messing around with your ex, and I've been searching for reasons not to cut your dick off. I finally calmed her down and she left to work. I never collected my belongings so fast in my life. Never looked back. Man, you really dodged a bullet there. Dodge a knife. Met a girl at a party. We flirted. Then we ended up in my bedroom. This was in my apartment. Heavy makeout. I suggest having sex. She declines. Heavier making out. Basically including anything that's not intercourse. I suggest having sex again. She declines. Fair enough. We stopped the making out and planned to see each other again. The day we were supposed to meet, she stood me up. I had cooked and it was already time to meet. She told me that she doesn't want to see me again because I wasn't pushy enough. She liked men who were less soft and gentle. She basically told me that when she said no, I shouldn't have listened. I had a GF once that was really possessive, to the point of stalker behavior. We had been dating for maybe 3 months and she didn't have a life. She never did anything and always wanted to spend time with me, and I was a fairly busy person. It gets to the point where she doesn't believe that I could have so much going on in my life that I can't video call her for at least an hour at the start and end of every single day. If I wasn't replying to her messages within 5 minutes she'd send about 7 more, then call me a few times. Then it got that she looked at all my social profiles to see when I was last online to see whether I should have seen her text or not. Also within 2 weeks she had planned our wedding and named our 4 children. Max, Harrison, Lily and Sophia. And how are the kids doing now? Fantastic. They don't exist, just the way I wanted. Was at work late upgrading PCs to Win 10. I am happily married and had only recently gotten married at that time. While I was in the contact center upgrading multiple PCs, I was kind of cornered by a younger woman who wound up saying, "If you ever need a release from your wife, I'm here and more than happy to, fuck or something. I think you're super attractive," and kept it going for a few minutes. I mentioned that I'm happily married with no intentions of cheating and she kind of pushed for a while longer, lingered while I kept working, and then eventually left. It was probably the most awkward 20 minutes I have ever sat through at work. I had a waitress I worked with who got cheated on by her husband. Smart, attractive and funny woman. Her husband agreed with her that she deserved to fuck me to get even with him. Except they didn't regard the fact I was also married and not interested in running my relationship. A woman who worked in my department years ago, who I'd spoken to once or twice, but really didn't know very well, was walking toward me through our shared parking lot one workday afternoon. Not long before she was terminated apparently. On passing each other, we exchanged what I heard to be pleasantries, although I'm sure now she said something else I didn't actually hear. Suddenly, and without any solicitation, after continuing another 10 or 15 yards on her way, she yelled back across the parking lot, loudly and clearly enough for anyone in earshot to hear, "I'll wax my asshole for ya." I did not in fact ask her to do so, ever, nor did I desire at any time in the future that she do that. Understandably, I am unclear even today as to what prompted her ejaculation. I guess we can all agree she has a hairy asshole. Oh boy, I was dating this girl that I met visiting a friend at hospital after he had a pretty bad motorcycle crash. She seemed like my type, funny, smart, into bikes etc. So anyway, we've been dating a few weeks and I end up riding down to her town by the coast. We have a couple drinks so obviously I can't drive back. It was already pre-planned to stay at hers. Evening rolls in and we head home and start to mess around on the sofa. One thing leads to another and we're both naked playing around on her living room sofa. She mounts me and as my cock is pushing inside her she says, "Do you like that?" I reply, yeah baby, take it deep," or some generic sexual reply. She then stops and says, "No, I asked, do you like me?" I was taken aback like, well yeah of course I like you or I wouldn't be inside you. She then said, "Will you be my friend?" I'm like, "What, will you be my friend and come over and play with me?" But like a child would say, turned out she had dissociated identity disorder and thought she was doing okay because she hadn't had an episode in a while. Not really her fault, that one. Almost sad. Was about 13 riding my bike with a few friends, and while we were waiting at a corner a car pulled up with a woman looked to be in her 40s, over 300 pounds, and she leaned over and said, "Hey boys, want to have some fun? We can go someplace and I'll make you feel really good." Needless to say, we all looked at each other and sheepishly said no thank you and rode off. Really creeped us out. Girl in high school wanted a pair of my used boxers as a birthday present and asked my best friend to get them for her. Best friend asks me for them and I refuse, so he buys a new pair and rubs them on street signs and shit to make them look used. She proceeds to sleep with them every night for a while until she gets over me, and then has a scenes ritual where she lights them on fire. Smells like yield. You made it to the end. If you enjoyed this, smash the like button and subscribe so you don't miss a video. Thank you.